A becoming animal always involves a pack, a band, a population, a peopling, in short, a multiplicity. Today, we're going to talk about rats. Hello everyone, welcome to Flickr Theory Reviews. I'm your host, Tadas Vinokur. Today, we will continue our journey through Deleuze and Guattari's A Thousand Plateaus by taking up a new chapter, which is called Becoming Intense, Becoming Animal, Becoming Imperceptible. Before I begin, I would just like to quickly say thank you to my Patreon supporters. Your help really makes a difference. If you guys dig what I do, please consider subscribing to my channel, also checking out the Patreon page for special privileges. Well, this chapter is the longest chapter in A Thousand Plateaus. It is also one of the more complex chapters because it is built just like the geology plateau around a set of recollections, memories, or a series of scenes, which try to dissect the mechanism of becoming. Deleuze and Guattari begin with a section called Memories of a Moviegoer, but they definitely don't stop there. Deleuze and Guattari give us memories of a naturalist, of a Bergsonian, of a sorcerer, and so on and so on. We get a grand total of 15 scenes in this chapter. 15 scenes. Firstly, I would like to acknowledge that just like the One or Several Wolves, or How Do You Make Yourself a Body Without Organs chapter, and to some extent the Three Novellas chapter, the Becomings chapter also analyzes the ethics of destratification. That is to say, how can we become intense, deprive ourselves of cultural interpolation? How can we become imperceptible, act more like animals perhaps, and accomplish all of this more efficiently in a more mutually satisfying way when we're dealing with other people? Always have to deal with other people. Well, why exactly do Deleuze and Guattari focus on memories or recollections as the points of reference? Firstly, there is a little bit of a ambiguity here. Memories, if you think about it, are attempts to impose structure on the events that happened, things that you experienced. For this reason, memories seem quite an odd choice to symbolize a becoming. One could say that memories are organized around an attempt to stabilize a subject, create a molar line, rather than invent something new in a subject, utilize a line of flight, become an animal, if you will. In fact, later on in this chapter, Deleuze and Guattari say that becoming is a form of anti-memory. That is to say, the very idea of becoming contradicts the architecture of a memory. Deleuze and Guattari even changed their minds about the use of memory as a vehicle for their argument. They write, whenever we use the word memories in the preceding pages, we were wrong to do so. We meant to say becoming. We were saying becoming. Just make up your mind. This means that the scenes in this chapter are caught up in ambiguity. These scenes, in a sense, oscillate between stable and unstable modes of thinking or being. That is to say, in this chapter, Deleuze and Guattari show us how the supple line of segmentaria shifts between the rigid line on the one side and the line of flight on the other, between stratification and destratification. Memories are then precisely attempts to control fleeting, ephemeral becomings of the past. That's where the ambiguity lies. Memories undertake to control and organize something that lacks organization. So how does one become an animal? How does one do it? I discussed already in several Wolves chapter review that, as Deleuze and Guattari claim, one cannot become an animal without a fascination with the pack, with the multiplicity. Deleuze and Guattari begin this chapter with an exploration of this exact problem, that of becoming animal. More precisely, here they are concerned about becoming rat, as they discuss 1971 movie Willard. This section is called The Memories of a Moviegoer. The protagonist of the movie, a young man, a meek, introverted person who has issues at work and does not get along with his mother, to solve some of his problems, he trains a pack of rats to kill for him. Most importantly for Deleuze and Guattari, his attempt to train rats does not involve him imitating rats. Instead, he trains rats by becoming one with them, one with the pack. This is a very important point in that for Deleuze and Guattari, becoming animal does not mean imitation of an animal. Instead, it means embracing a multiplicity, a pack. Willard could keep his job, he could cling to the molar line, but instead he joins a multiplicity, he becomes an animal. Delusiongatari write, "The proliferation of rats, the pack, brings a becoming molecular that undermines the great molar powers of family, career, and conjugality." Here, I should add, Delusiongatari emphasized that becoming animal does not happen through filiation, that is, through a structural organization of species, but rather through contagion or formation of alliances. That is to say, becoming animal is a procedure that is removed from traditional accounts of evolution, in that it involves alliances between very different forms of life. Like, for example, between the wasp and the orchid. This is something that they discuss in the section called Memories of a Bergsonian. Delusiongatari write, "Finally, becoming is not an evolution, at least not an evolution by descent or filiation. Becoming produces nothing by filiation. All filiation is imaginary. Becoming is always of a different order than filiation. It concerns alliance." Alliance. In the section Memories of a Sorcerer, number 1, Delusiongatari further explored the idea of a multiplicity or a pack. Here they distinguish 3 types of animals: the individuated animal, the animal with characteristics, and the demonic animal. They write, "We must distinguish 3 kinds of animals. First, individuated animals, family pets, sentimental, Oedipal animals, each with its own petty history, my cat, my dog. Then there is a second kind, animals with characteristics or attributes, genus, classification, or state animals, animals as they are treated in the great divine myths. And finally, there are more demonic animals, pack or affect animals that form a multiplicity, a becoming, a population, a tale." Now, obviously, all animals can escape these distinctions. An individuated animal can become a demonic animal or an animal with characteristics. The goal, as far as Delusiongatari are concerned, is then to think animals as demonic creatures that generate a population, a multiplicity. I discussed becoming animal as a form of becoming that involves multiplicities. However, all forms of becomings are tightly connected with multiplicities. In the section Memories of a Sorcerer, number 3, Delusiongatari discuss exactly that. Whether it is becoming animal, becoming woman, becoming child, or becoming molecular, it all has to do with disavowing the idea of a stable majority, stable metaphor that generalizes, organizes, and instead embracing the multiplicity of minorities, embracing the becoming minoritarian. Delusiongatari writes, "Why are there so many becomings of man, but no becoming man? First, because man is majoritarian par excellence, whereas becomings are minoritarian. All becoming is a becoming minoritarian. When we say majority, we are referring not to a greater relative quantity, but to the determination of a state or standard in relation to which larger quantities as well as the smallest can be said to be minoritarian, white man, adult male, etc. Majority implies a state or of domination, not the reverse. All forms of becomings are trying to reach the radical becoming, namely becoming imperceptible." Delusiongatari write, "Becoming woman is the first quantum or molecular segment, with the becomings animal that link up with it coming next. What are they all rushing toward? Without a doubt, toward becoming imperceptible. They are all rushing toward becoming imperceptible, toward total destratification, towards an imminent line of flight." Imminent line of flight. Let's just destratify stuff. Finally, I would like to discuss the concept of Hexes. Here, we should go back, as Deleuze and Guattari do, to Spinoza, who argued that in the world there's one substance, and all objects are extensions or continuations of this substance. That is to say, there's no underlying ontological difference between objects and substances. They're all only different manifestations, forms, embodiments of this one substance. So how would we capture moments or individuations in this immanent substance without resorting to organization, subject formation, or symbolic control, or imposition of a standard? Hexaity then is exactly that. It is a term that denotes the form of content formation within the plane of consistency. Deleuze and Guattari write, "There is a mode of individuation very different from that of a person, subject, thing, or substance. We reserve the name hexaity for it. A season, a winter, a summer, an hour, a date, a perfect individuality lacking nothing, even though this individuality is different from that of a thing or a subject. Hexes are therefore events which transpire here and now. Events that are fleeting, ephemeral. They don't lack anything. They have to do more with the transformation of the Spinozian substance. Deleuze-Guattari writes, a hexede has neither beginning nor end, origin nor destination. It is always in the middle. It is not made of points, only of lines. It is a rhizome. We've heard of rhizomes. We've been there. The Becoming's plateau embraces the creative capacity of becoming. It allows us to examine in what specific ways do we organize our intentions, goals, actions. How do we increase our capacities by becoming comfortable with the multiplicity, with the pack, with the formation of alliances rather than structural affiliations? That is precisely the point of this chapter. We should not be afraid to become something. Thank you for watching. See you next time.